to sleep on your half now, right?
I mean, you shouldn't sleep.
I can totally mentally tap out and not contribute to the show at all.
You should feign interest.
Oh,
I have some vaguely interesting things to discuss.
I can probably swing that.
I mean, just at least.
Right.
Like
I'll act interested.
I can see through it and be like, Kyle's totally just phoning it in right now. But as long as you're phoning it in, as long as you're making that call.
Oh yeah.
That's all I need. That's all I'm asking.
I've got your half of the show on speed dial.
Beautiful.
Phoning this shit.
All right.
Hardcore.
We should be live to YouTube now. So hey everyone, and welcome to Awesome Hardware. This is a live show. We talk about technology. We drink some beers. We do it every Tuesday evening at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, and we stream live to twitch.tv/awesomehardware. We also stream to each of our YouTube channels. We already did the first half of today's show, which is episode number 116 on Kyle's channel, which is Bitwit, and the link to his video is in the description. If you missed that, maybe check it out. It'll show you how we got to where we are right now, which is slightly toasty.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's warm in here.
We've had a few
you
drinks.
mean the alcohol. Yeah.
Kyle forced me to pound a beer on his half of the show, so
I pounded it with.
That he did too. So there we go. He was a champion at that. On my half of the show, we're going to talk about some monitors, some HDR displays, and some space stuff, and Nvidia's Volta architecture for their new GPUs. And it's going to be a lovely time. So thank you guys so much for joining us. If you happen to be watching live, cheers.
Cheers.
If you're watching in the future, cheers to you guys too. But thanks for being here. I'm drinking a Lagunitas Imperial Stout that Kyle brought over.
Stay thirsty, my friends.
Kyle is drinking. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking a double IPA from Anderson Valley.
Anderson Valley double IPA.
Hell yeah.
Delicious.
It is quite
delicious stuff.
It's the best.
We're going to continue on my half of the show with news.
Yay, news!
No, we're not going to do that yet.
We got stuff in our stores. Buy things from us. We have so many things for you guys to buy.
Real quick plug for our stores. paulshardware.net is my store. I have quite a few shirts, as well as some mugs, pint glasses, hoodies, vinyl decals. Look at these glasses. They're great, high quality things.
Oh yeah.
If you buy them, we shout your name at the end of the show. Kyle's store features not just fidget spinners, but also shirts and some caps. Now, caps?
Like baseball caps and trucker caps. I got it all.
Caps.
I don't even wear hats.
It's all
good
good
stuff. If you guys
stuff.
wear hats, then you buy all of them.
Bitwit.tech/store is Kyle's store. My store is at paulshardware.net/store. Check them out. Buy some stuff. It's all real good. All right.
Oh yeah.
Continuing with news, Anand Tech article seems to be telling us that these displays that people have been kind of excited about from both ASUS and Acer are going to be delayed.
No!
Yes, these HDR displays.
Wait, the ASUS one too?
Yeah, both of them.
No.
So these displays were first shown off at CES at the beginning of 2017. We're talking about the Acer 4K HDR Predator X27 gaming. According to Acer, it's been delayed to Q1 2018.
Jeez.
So they're not going to hit the holiday season with the launch. ASUS in the same boat with their ROG Swift PG27UQ. Also going to be delayed to Q1 2018. Now, if you're familiar with displays and how the market works, generally speaking, there's the panel makers, the actual manufacturers of the panels, and then you'll have these companies like ASUS and Acer that take those panels, build a display around it, and sell it to people. So both of these displays are based on an AU Optronics model of panel. It's called the M270QAN02.2. It's an AHVA panel. It's 3840 by 2160 4K resolution, 144 Hz refresh rate, and it has direct LED backlighting with 384 zones, which is a real nice way to do LED backlighting, by the way.
Yeah.
If you can have individual zones with darkening, it's a great,
like really good dark scenes and shit like that.
Great for contrast ratio.
Yeah.
You know what's not said in this is the actual size. These are 27-inch, right? Or are they larger than that?
I would think, yeah.
Because it's an X27 from Predator and a PG227, so I'm pretty sure this is a 27-inch panel. But it's the 4K, the 144 Hz,
and HDR, right?
HDR all together in the same panel, which is what made these so desirable.
Yeah. Cream of the crop.
They're also both G-Sync, and there have been no other 4K G-Sync HDR displays announced even. So, yeah. It's too bad these are delayed. I have to assume since both of them are delayed, it's got something to do with the manufacturer of the panel, AU Optronics. Yeah. But hopefully, since it is 2018, maybe it'll be early 2018. Maybe we'll see these launch around CES 2018 timeframe or something like that.
And if you watch my half of the show, then maybe you would know that there's a potential that you could scale down the resolution of these displays and potentially increase the frame rate, or I'm sorry, the refresh rate beyond 144 hertz. We were seeing a 480 hertz display earlier as a prototype, so
that's right.
Keep tabs on
27-inch, 480 hertz HDR.
Yeah,
super sweet.
I'm cool with that.
All right, moving on.
I can jive with that.
SpaceX has landed another one of its Falcon rockets. I usually do a space segment when I talk about space stuff, but I'm just talking about this specific one. This rocket took off from Cape Canaveral, Florida at 12:31 p.m. Eastern Time yesterday. It was bound for the ISS, the International Space Station, and 8 minutes after takeoff, the majority of the vehicle, that being the Falcon 9 rocket, the main booster itself, came back down and landed on a pad on solid ground off of the Florida coast. This is the 14th successful rocket landing for SpaceX. It's the 6th time they've landed one of their rockets back on the ground, which must be a little bit easier, I think, than landing on the barges that they have floating out in the water.
That's pretty precise.
The benefit of when they land on the barge floating out in the water is that they can move the barge around, so they can optimize the flight path for fuel efficiency and that kind of thing. But of course, the barge is moving around in water, and they have to deal with ocean currents and weather and that kind of thing. So landing on the ground is easier because they have a 100% record of attempting to land the Falcon 9 rockets on the ground. The rocket itself carried a Dragon cargo capsule filled with about 6,400 pounds of supplies to scientists for experiments on the ISS to help out their crew. I imagine resupplies as well for stuff like, things to eat.
Yeah.
That's very useful.
Semi-important.
Yeah. But yeah, the Dragon itself hasn't actually docked with the ISS yet. It will spend the next couple of days in orbit before meeting up with the space station on Wednesday, so tomorrow sometime. You can follow SpaceX on Twitter if you want to be updated with that kind of thing. They usually do some tweets about it and often live streams of docking procedures and that kind of thing, which is fun to watch. This is their 11th launch this year in 2017, which is already 3 more than they did last year, and it's only early August. So SpaceX has been ramping up, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
We get excited about that stuff because maybe one day SpaceX will be instrumental in a mission to Mars.
Oh yeah,
and that's pretty badass in my
sign me up.
In my opinion. All right, you're doing a great job, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I doing a great job as just sort of like a hype man?
No, I feel like I got you on the phone. You're listening. You're engaged.
Perfect. Awesome. Perfect. That's exactly what I'm going for.
It's the perfect amount.
I'm glad the ruse is effective.
Right, he's falling for it. All right.
I'm just repeating everything you say.
If you are interested in Android phones and their capabilities of doing stuff beyond just being phones, you might be interested in this new development from Qualcomm. This is specifically talking about their new processor, the newest Snapdragon processor, which isn't specifically named in the article, but they have an image processing. There's part of the processor that does image processing. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
It's called Spectra, and as part of their next flagship Snapdragon processor, they're doing a bunch of improvements to Spectra, such as the ability to do basic stuff with photography, like noise reduction and video stabilization, but also support for a bunch more. 3 more camera modules with advanced sensing features. So as you let's see if I can pull this.
So maybe it'll be better in low light, and potentially better for just high motion, high activity shots where things are moving around.
So there's 3 modules that they're specifically talking about that do 3 different things. One does iris scanning, so that's probably pretty.
For your eye?
Yeah, so you guys have already seen that. You know, cameras that let you do security features and everything through iris scanning.
Yeah.
That's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a module that does depth sensing. It uses a passive depth sensor that uses 2 cameras with the lenses spaced apart so it can sense the depth, which I believe is what this GIF is showing right here. But beyond the passive depth sensor, there's also an active depth sensor that actually uses an infrared illuminator to shine a bunch of infrared lights down on the subject, and then uses the reflection of the pattern to do infrared sensor scanning. I'm not describing that very well.
Why would someone need infrared scanning on their phone?
Because it is more accurate, and it's better at determining distortions in the pattern. It determines the distortions in the pattern of the dots in order to detect the depth, so that the phone can see not just an image of what's going on in front of it, but how far away things are.
Okay.
So that's the main feature here.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Determines distortions in the patterns of the dots, can map depths far more accurately than the passive system. Stop that. So there you go.
That's cool.
And as a result of that, I'm sure there's lots of software and stuff that can be built on top of this.
Right.
There's tons of stuff that your phone can do because of features that the phone has built into it, like a GPS, and a camera, and a microphone, and a screen, and a touch screen, and lots of other stuff like that. This is adding more capabilities to the phone, and I'm sure there's lots of software that might be developed on top of this to take advantage of it in ways that we can only imagine right now. Or maybe there's somebody watching who's going to develop an app that will be super awesome to do with this kind of thing.
I hope so.
But phones being able to determine like the actual distance away things are in front of them might be something that could be used for augmented reality.
Well, you know, it'd be useful if it was like an active measurement tool. Like if you could take a picture of a desk, you know, just like if I took it from this angle and shot a picture of your desk going this way, and it could actually measure how long or how wide your desk was.
It could tell you exactly how
right.
Yeah, I mean something like that.
If it's about calculating depth to some degree, it feels like that would be super useful to have like an actual tape measure app in your phone.
Yeah,
I would love that.
And so take that base functionality, combine it with other stuff. Combine it with other functions that the phone can do. Imagine that this is something that just all phones will be able to do in a few years.
Next-gen dick pics.
And yeah, stuff that you already thought your phone was pretty cool and was able to do. I mean, imagine stuff like scanning something in 3D.
Yeah,
would be greatly enhanced by something like this.
Oh yeah.
So 3D scanners are pretty expensive, and you have to have a fixed thing that spins the thing around and scans it or whatever. Now you can there's already basic levels of functionality for something like this, 3D scanning with the phone. Now you could do it like super accurately, or at least a lot more accurately than it might have been done before. So stuff like that. That's pretty cool.
Send nudes in 3D.
Exactly. You never get a full appreciation of the girth. But yeah, first devices that feature this new processor from Qualcomm, which has this technology in it, is expected to ship in 2018, sometime in 2018. There we go. All right.
Lovely.
That's all for the basic news segment. Let's move on to Oh Joy.
Oh Joy!
Oh Joy is sarcastic. Oh Joy is actually terrible things with no solution to them.
Oh, boo.
So there we go.
Ah.
Hold on, let me close some of these.
Oh Joy. It's definitely a nice pick-me-up in the middle of the show.
It is. It's great timing for this.
Can't wait.
Let's start with Nvidia.
Ooh, Nvidia.
Nvidia's next generation GPU architecture is codenamed Volta. Right now we're using Pascal-based GPUs if you're on a 10 series graphics card. According to Nvidia, don't expect Volta anytime soon.
Oh.
This is based on a transcript of Nvidia's recent Q2 2018 earnings call provided by Seeking Alpha. Nvidia does not plan on releasing Volta-based GPUs to consumers anytime soon. Nvidia has only already revealed their Volta V100 GPU for enterprise and server markets, which is pretty cool, and it's designed to accelerate AI calculations and deliver insane levels of compute performance. But hey, when can we common folk get our hands on some Volta-based graphics cards? not anytime soon, according to this article.
Right. Probably because they don't need to roll out any new cards anytime soon. Because there's really not a ton of competition at least the high end.
So that is a theory. Companies like Nvidia don't tend to typically come out and be like, "We're not giving you Volta because AMD sucks." Yep. They don't usually they don't usually come out and say that directly.
Right.
So you know, it's up to you to assume that or infer it or whatever. But yeah,
sure.
Jensen Huang. He said they do not plan to release Volta this holiday season or for the foreseeable future, as they see their Pascal architecture at this time is unbeatable.
Wow. That's pretty ballsy.
Yeah, the specific quote from the article says, "Volta for gaming, we haven't announced anything. And all I can say is that our pipeline is filled with some exciting new toys for gamers, and we have some really exciting new technology to offer them in the pipeline." Parenthetical, we probably have like a really fascinating presentation about GPU, about what our GPUs are doing in cars.
Sorry, yeah, right. Hey. No one cares about.
But for the holiday season, foreseeable future, I think Pascal is just unbeatable. It's just best thing out there for everybody who's looking forward to playing Call of Duty or Destiny 2. If they don't already have one, they should get a Pascal.
See, you're saying like they're not gonna Nvidia like a distinguished company like Nvidia's not gonna outright say, "Well, AMD's not really challenging us at this point," but they are gonna say at this time we are unbeatable. And if you look at it, well, they really only have one competitor in the market space. So
they did have a tweet earlier this week with Threadripper.
Oh,
and GeForce was like, "Hey, Threadripper, that's a great pair. That's a great combination for the 1080 Ti." And AMD was like, "Yeah, it is, I guess. Oh, yeah, you're right. It is.
Can't deny.
We make a good team.
Work together."
Yeah, so the article, very being fair and everything, points out that they could be facing delays for reasons such as delays in manufacturing, yield problems, or some other technical issue.
Do we know what kind of memory
or it could just be lack of competition.
Are they doing GDR5X again?
So Nvidia has Pascal-based GPUs already with HBM memory on the Pascal with their workstation stuff.
Right.
So I think it's just up to them. I think Nvidia made the choice, which in retrospect, looking at it now, that Vega has launched, probably the right choice, that HBM2 and HBM wasn't as viable a solution for the commodity market that gaming graphics cards is, and they wouldn't be able to manufacture enough of them to meet up with demand.
Yeah.
And potentially also that the benefits of HBM2 memory, as far as increased bandwidth, just wasn't going to make that much of an impact when paired with the abilities of the current GPUs that they can produce. So it seems like they made a right choice in that regard. But yeah, we might see something Volta based with HBM2 memory from Nvidia in the future, but really hard to say if that would be a gaming graphics card or something that was aimed at the enterprise market. Sorry about the dogs. They're just letting us know that it's nighttime.
Are you sure?
The sun has fallen again.
Are you sure you don't have like a pizza or something?
I hope not. I mean, pizza wouldn't be terrible, but
I would not complain too much.
My wife might be home at some point too.
Oh yeah, that could be it.
All right, continuing the OJoy segment, a quick note about the FCC here. An article from ARS Technica. The FCC is suggesting, via a document they recently posted, that maybe Americans don't really need fast home internet service because, hey, maybe you got that cell phone data service, right?
What?
Yes, exactly. What?
What?
So this document was posted by the FCC. It's backed by Ajit Pai, who we've talked about on the show in several different past episodes.
Douchebag.
This new FCC doc suggests that changing a specific policy which regulates mobile broadband service. Section 706 of the Telecommunications Act requires the FCC to determine whether broadband, or more formally, advanced telecommunications capabilities, are being deployed to all Americans in a reasonable and timely fashion. That's part of what the FCC is supposed to do as a government agency that serves the public. They're supposed to look at the broadband that's out there and be like, hey, is this being deployed to people in a reasonable and timely fashion?
Okay.
This new document is suggesting that reasonable and timely might mean, hey, you've got wireless data service. Because wireless data service can give you internet connection speeds of about 10 megabits per second download and 1 megabit per second upload. That's what the FCC wants to reclassify your broadband internet connection as, which would mean that the FCC could then look at the maps that cover the nation as wireless service. Oh, you've got wireless data. Your Verizon map covers you, right? Mm-hmm. You've got your Verizon map coverage at your house on your cell phone.
Yeah.
We don't need to compel your internet service provider to roll out additional service or actual hardware to provide you coverage that's an actual wired connection. Right. Because we've got the wireless connection.
They're lowering the bar.
They're lowering the bar for what qualifies as a broadband connection, right, so that they can say that your mobile broadband provider meets up with that. Right. And that way,
God damn it, Ajit.
That way your mobile data service has you covered. The FCC does not need to do their job and force ISPs to roll out to spend any of their hard-earned ISP money to roll out additional improved
That's super bullshit.
Coverage for people out there.
It's not the same. That is not the same thing.
It's not the same thing.
They're capitalizing on people's lack of knowledge of how this shit works.
Yeah. Current broadband standards in the US are 25 megabits per second down and 3 megabits per second up. Still not the greatest, but a heck of a lot better than 10 down and 1 up. Yeah. And also just one of those thresholds because of the limitations of wireless software in general, or wireless hardware in general, where lowering that would allow them to meet that threshold. So we've encouraged you guys many times on the show to talk to the FCC. We're doing it again. This is a document that they've posted. Let them know. You can do so directly on the FCC website. They do have forms open for you to provide feedback that you think that's BS, because it is. If you live somewhere, if you're in a rural area, I should have moved this, by the way. If you're in a rural area and you have crappy wired service, like you have an old copper connection or something like that, or DSL, and you've been waiting to get some kind of internet service upgrade, this is the last thing you want to hear about. Yeah. Because internet service providers can charge more money due to scarcity, because scarcity is like, oh, we don't have the bandwidth to provide you, because we didn't spend the money to feed to lay down fiber or that kind of thing. True. Anyway, so it's kind of a BS thing, and it's part of why it's part of OJOY.
This is why it's important to share this sort of information, and to kind of, I feel like it's sort of our responsibility to teach people that, like our friends and family, about this sort of thing, like data rates and bandwidth, and because you can try to get someone hyped up about net neutrality, but if they don't understand bandwidth rates or the technical aspect of it, then they don't really get the whole concept. It sort of boils down to the essential details.
It takes a while of talking about and discussing things like megabytes and gigabytes and the difference between bits and bytes, and just
what
sort
that
of
means
getting
for
that
them.
into your head of what bandwidth is,
exactly,
how it's discussed, throughput versus raw numbers and that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, it's challenging, but it's the type of thing that people don't understand right away. But it is definitely the type of thing that the FCC is trying to take advantage of people's lack of knowledge, so that they can change this, so that ISPs suddenly are like, oh, we can sit back, not spend any money, and charge people more for their shitty bandwidth. Yeah, that sounds great. Okay.
Precisely.
Let's move on to our last story in OJOY. An update this past week, if you had a smart lock, might have screwed you over.
Ooh.
The manufacturer is called LockState. They pushed a firmware update to hundreds of their internet-connected locks, and those locks then became inoperable.
Oh, shit.
Internet of Shit posted about this. I might start doing a regular segments focused on Internet of Shit posts. I follow them on Twitter, and it's pretty fabulous sometimes.
That's gotta be fascinating.
But Lockstate mistakenly sent out the 6i lock model firmware to their 7i lock models.
Oh my god.
Was the technical reason for why that happened. But just an example of like we're moving to the next phase of whatever, and we have internet connected locks.
Here's an old, outdated patch that
sorry about the dogs.
Will render all of your locks useless.
Yes, and now you can't get into our house. We're locked out. So that kind of sucks. The company offered affected customers one of two options: either return the back portion of the lock to Lockstate so the firmware can be updated manually with a turnaround time of 5 to 7 days, or request a replacement interior lock with a turnaround time of 14 to 18 days. In the meantime, you can still use an actual key, so that's good.
Thank God.
Thank
God for analog.
That's good that actual keys
comes in to save the day.
Still works.
Super clutch.
That is useful.
I can just imagine people like, fuck you, Lockstate.
Gotta have
tweeting from my porch.
Gotta have that backwards compatibility. You know, whenever they talk about, like, we're gonna move to the next version, we're gonna, like, all this stuff, we're not gonna support that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
When you stop supporting analog,
it's not.
Try not to do that.
Yeah.
You need to have a backup plan when digital fails.
Analog can't go anywhere.
All right. Let's move on to the final structured somewhat segment of today's show, which is Las Vegas.
Las Vegas?
Mainly another excuse to use my lower thirds that I made. Las Vegas. Like the Vegas.
It's one of the better lower thirds we've done.
It's kind of fun. So we're going to talk a little bit about Vega. We already talked a little bit about Vega on Kyle's half of the show. Vega actually launched yesterday morning. Is that when that happened?
I feel like it's been several years since Vega launched.
Seems a little crazy.
Only 24 hours ago. Jeez.
A little crazy.
Wow.
Anyway, though, there's been lots of reviews. They were all over the place.
Yep.
Vega is
everywhere.
Vega is a mixed bag when you look at it directly. But we're gonna go over a few of the results from the reviews. This first one we're looking at is from PC Perspective, and of course these are all linked in the video description down below.
Yep.
PC Perspective got their hands on the Vega 64, the 64 Liquid, and the Vega 56.
Mm-hmm.
There they are, all next to their Frontier editions and everything like that. Mm-hmm. They did a crap ton of testing. They actually have 175 graphs in this entire thing. So again, guys, these are all linked in the description down below, so check them out if you're really interested in some more detailed, in-depth Vega coverage, as well as full charts comparing like the Vega 64s and the 56s to other cards and their frequencies and all that good stuff. I'm gonna jump ahead. Wait.
Do it.
Wait.
Jump around.
Wow.
Woo, woo, woo,
Ryan, this first page is really long.
You got fancy with B-roll.
All right, let's go. Let's look at some results.
Dang.
Let's look at GTA 5.
Hey.
If anyone from AMD is watching right now, they're like,
no,
why?
not GTA 5.
Not GTA 5.
Stay away.
GTA 5. GTA 5 was universally not good performance with Vega for me.
Yeah,
like, I mean, it's not like a terrible performance, like it couldn't perform, but like just significantly lower.
Favored Nvidia for sure.
It's DirectX 11, of course, but the Vega cards in this one are the orange line and the green line, and you can see those are the lower lines here when you compare them to the upper lines, which are the 1080, and of course the 1080 Ti, which is way up there. But yeah, GTA 5, the Vega was outpaced in. I mean, Kyle, you've done some benchmarks now.
Yeah. You've
tested both cards, right?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, I feel like it really just depends. I feel like Vega 56. I've done more testing with Vega 56, believe it or not, than I have Vega 64.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the card that most people are keeping their eye on because it's just a bit more attractive of a price point. It's a tad more accessible. So I've found that the Vega 56 and the GTX 1070 trade blows often. Almost to the point where I did my my redo, like my Redux or whatever benchmarks today, and I found that the GTX 1070 performed less than 1% better on average than Vega 56, and that was manually overclocking both cards. But I felt like it was more or less a wash in my eyes because the cards were trading blows like left and right. So it really just depends on a number of factors: what game you're playing, if that game's DirectX 11 or DirectX 12, what API are you using, what CPU are you using with it. I mean, there's so many variables that that you could easily skew any results to be like in favor of Vega 56 or in the GTX 1070. And I think what it boils down to at this point is price. We don't really know. It's too early to tell, and GamersNexus sort of commented on this as well, where they don't really know exactly where Vega stands at this point because the pricing is still so up in the air. Obviously, with the fact that it's gone completely out of stock, and we're still waiting for the add and board partner variants to come around. We don't really know. We can't give a full response, but what we know right now is, at least for Vega 56, it stays pretty competitive performance-wise with the GTX 1070, and we're going to have to wait on some more pricing details to really determine whether or not it's a better buy. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Vega 56 at $400 is something that you could have an argument with someone about whether they should get the 1070 or the Vega 56.
Definitely.
If someone was like, hey, I've got, let's say, $800 to spend. I've already got an okay computer. I want a new graphics card, and I want to get in on this variable refresh rate thing. Mm-hmm. I want some VSync or some G-Sync. I'm sorry, I want some G-Sync or some FreeSync in my life. Then you could very easily say, oh, well, yeah, you should obviously go for Vega 56.
Yeah.
Because you're going to spend $400 on the graphics card. You can get a very decent FreeSync monitor for $400, mm-hmm. and you're off to the races. Now, if someone isn't in that monitor equation, where they're looking for a monitor, then maybe the conversation changes. If someone is in a situation where they're like, you know what, efficiency is really important to me. My electricity costs are already always really high and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. That changes the conversation a little bit. But the fact that you can say to even 25% of people, like, this is the card that you want to get, I think is significant, because prior to now, at the $400 price range,
it was GeForce was your only option.
Get a 1070.
Yeah.
Which 1070 do you want to buy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to recommend people something else. Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that and the FreeSync thing, I think makes it something that should be seriously considered. The Vega 64, is a harder sell for sure.
Yeah. I think so too, because the performance gap between Vega 64 and the GTX 1080 is quite a bit wider, I would say, in my testing, than Vega 56 and the GTX 1070. But you can find a GTX 1080 for not a whole lot more than an air-cooled reference RX Vega 64. So, like I said in my previous videos, like, the relationship between Vega 56 and the 1080 is completely different than that of the Vega 64 and 1080 is completely different than Vega 56 and the 1070. I think it's going to boil down to the monitor. I feel like a lot of people who are really wanting adaptive refresh rate in their lives and they want to get on that bandwagon, if the price of a FreeSync monitor is going to be less than what they would pay for a G-Sync panel, and that's going to offset what they would spend overall on an AMD setup, then I think there is a case for Vega 64. But if you already have a display or you're not interested in adaptive refresh rate, then overall the GTX 1080, according to my tests, offers the better value overall. Frames per dollar, bang for the buck, whatever you want to call it. It's a pretty fast card.
And I've seen a few people in chat say FreeSync shouldn't be the deciding factor. And,
not for everyone, no.
And you're right.
Well, it's a niche. It's a
there's
niche.
A lot of people that doesn't factor in at all.
No, not at all. Yeah,
and
I agree.
It is somewhat disappointing that in order to make a case for some of these GPUs, you have to
go that route. Exactly.
Because Vega was so anticipated for so long.
Right.
So I mentioned a little bit on Kyle's half of the show that I spent a significant amount of time in the past 48 hours going back over my history of YouTube videos and updating the description because I was violating an Amazon affiliate code. I had to
terms
remove,
of service
yeah,
type
terms
thing.
of service thing. I had to remove a bunch of links that were there.
I have to do that too tomorrow.
And I was
doing the same thing tomorrow.
And I was going back historically, and I was like, when did we start talking about Vega? And it was just it was so long ago.
It was.
It was well over a year ago.
Right.
I'm like, man, it really has been a long wait for launch, you know. And we're like, all right,
there's been so much
it's gonna
hype.
be here by the end of the first half of 2017.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, here's
and
then they're like, here's Frontier Edition for $1,500 or whatever for workstations. They're like, oh, okay. It's like 2 more months.
Yep.
All right. So, yeah, the Vega launch, I think, if you compare it especially to something like the Threadripper launch, has been a little bit of a letdown.
Sure.
But that's not to say that it is a 100% failure.
Right.
I wouldn't call it that by any stretch. But I think a lot of it's going to depend on availability over the next few weeks, and especially availability leading up to like Black Friday time period when lots of people are looking to buy stuff. Whether or not they can keep it in stock, and whether or not, like we sort of briefly discussed on your half of the show, there's going to be any changes to MSRP. I don't think there is going to be, but you might just see it not be available directly from any, Newegg stock is just always going to be gone.
Yeah.
And the offers you're going to see are always going to be third-party sellers who are selling the
inflated.
$400 Vega 56 for $600 or $700 or something like that.
Yeah.
That might just be what happens.
Yep.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's tough.
A couple more reviews here. GamersNexus. I tried to pull some reviews from people who I think do a pretty good job at reviewing. I like reading GamersNexus reviews because I just feel like a lot of times they're
unique content.
Their get-go, like from the beginning, how we're gonna take a look at this card is different. Like the first chart they show you is Vega 56 running at 4 different power states with various different memory configurations set up. Vega 56 reference stock, showing this Vega 56 with 50% power increased only, which does a huge jump up.
Yeah.
Anyone who's getting a Vega 56 or a Vega 64,
this is the power limit slider,
yeah, just go into the Radeon settings,
boom,
and change your power slider to 50%.
I noticed that,
and
right
that's
off
a
the bat.
huge leap in performance.
Yep.
Beyond that, they're testing actual frequency overclocks and then actual memory overclocks. They also found that the HBM2 memory overclocks were providing just as much, if not more, of a increase in performance as the frequency overclocks. So that's going to be another thing to take a closer look at. There's also another thing that I noticed in the Hardware Info 64 monitoring utility was it has the GPU and the HBM memory temperatures both right there. Mm-hmm. And the HBM2 memory temperature with the HBM2 overclocked was getting hotter than the core temp, which made me think like, maybe I need to start monitoring the HBM2 temps as well. But beyond that, one other video, if you guys haven't checked it out already, I highly recommend you
Hardware
do.
Unboxed.
Hardware Unboxed.
Yes.
Steve.
I like Steve.
Steve somehow got his Vega 56. Like in 36 hours, he tested 25 games and made this video on it. What? I hate him. I hate him.
He must have like a band of monkeys, or at least 20 arms.
He's a terrible person
to do all these benchmarks.
No, he's brilliant. He's got some Excel tricks that I want to actually try to learn from him.
They're the benchmark kings.
But Steve tested this on Vega 56 on 25 different games. His test showed, again, like lots of us have shown, Vega 56 and the GTX 1070 kind of going back and forth, trading blows. He didn't do overclocking with this, so bear that in mind as well. But some excellent performance numbers there, and Steve talks you through them as well. So check that video out if you guys are interested. It's linked in the description of this video.
Description.
And that's about all I have to say about that.
Cool, exciting stuff. It's great. It's great to just look at all the reviews and benchmarks and stuff. I'm phoning in.
What?
Phoning in hardcore right now, Paul.
That's fine.
All I can think about the dinner feast that Wifey Sauce has prepared for me when I get home.
Oh, that's kind of exciting. I think my wife brought something home. I can't quite see what it is, though.
Something in a bag.
We'll figure that out.
It might be like chicken.
I'm down for some chicken.
Should be like a bunch of drugs.
All right, let's do some Q&A. Let's end the show.
Hey, donations
with the Q's and the A's.
Stephen Hill for the $15, spreading the financial love. Keep up the good work, guys. Try and fit some gaming in with the work. You know, we try. It's tough. You know, we game when we benchmark. I've gotten really good at the first level of Battlefield 1.
Yeah, I never got Battlefield 1, so I haven't benchmarked it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know. I just never did.
I don't know how it came in.
I probably should. I mean, it's one of those benchmarks that a lot of people expect.
It's very good for CPU testing and stuff. I will say. Jonathan Cruz, $5. I got an i5 6600K and a GTX 970. I only do 1080p gaming, but I don't know if I should wait for Coffee Lake, for the i7, and Volta, and get two 2080 Ti's to make a new PC.
You're fine.
Entirely up to you, but I think for 1080p gaming,
you're fine.
You're good.
A 6600K and a GTX 970 is fine.
I was gaming with those same specs at 1440p. So yeah, you're good. Automatic math.
If you've got money falling out of your butt, then maybe consider swapping the 970 for a 10 series card. But you're fine. Automatic Matt, thanks for the automatic donation.
Hey Cal, can I have a super motivational Asian message to get me through personal physical training?
Oh
man, now I have to like actually make up a message for you.
Like a Vietnamese.
Automatic Matt, you don't need to worry. You don't need to worry about your personal physical training. You have the big cock and the big muscle to get through it all. You have a full motivation. You better than the other stupid the white people. The white people are weak and feeble. They do not know the secret Asian secret that we all live inside of our heart. Ancient Chinese secret. Do you very well. You are the fat ancestor that we all look forward to. I pray to you every day. Every day I kiss your feet on the cheek of your feet. And make the special sacrifice, the Kung Pao ram chicken fucking shit. All right, you get the point. Good luck, Automatic Matt.
That's really good.
All of your training.
I'd say Matt got his money's worth there. El Jefe Reviews, $5. Cal murdered my wife's name at the end of the episode.
Oh no!
That Stay Positive shirt is coming to El Jefe.
El Jefe.
What was his wife's name?
I don't know.
Did we say it?
But I don't doubt him at all. I'm sure I butchered many names in this episode.
We can say El Jefe over and over again.
Yeah.
We're pretty confident with that one.
We'll stick with El Jefe for now.
Tom's Brensmiths with 50 Norwegian krona. Finally back to live watching. What's your thoughts about liquid metal for CPU and GPU instead of thermal paste?
Liquid metal. Woo! I've never tried it.
I haven't done an extensive amount of testing with that or something. Liquid metal to me is one of those things. It's like a premium product that typically costs a lot more.
Yeah.
It can improve temperatures ever so slightly, but it's just one of those niche things that I feel like makes a lot more sense for people who are going for world record overclocks and that kind of thing than people who are like, I really want a 24/7 overclock or whatever. I like the amount of extra performance you get for the cost of the liquid metal TIM is but this is totally anecdotal, so I could be wrong.
True.
But I like to qualify things I say at the end of an awesome hardware episode after I've been drinking a lot anyway.
I feel like for the most part, just regular non-liquid metal thermal interface material, thermal compound is going to be sufficient for most people's needs, unless you're doing some really high-end, like extreme overclocking, and you don't want to dabble into LN2 because it's not sustainable for 24/7 use. Then maybe, but if you're just doing a normal overclock like anyone else, I think you don't need the liquid metal stuff unless you just like, as long as you're below TJ Maxx. You're cool. It's really voltage that's going to be the killer.
TJ Maxx. TJ Maxx. TJ Maxx. Did you realize there's a jingle for TJ Maxx whenever you say TJ Maxx?
I didn't, but now I do. And now I'll forever sing it.
Local TV like in the 80s? Probably not.
I was like a baby in the 80s.
Automatic Matt, $5 donation. When do you guys think the next gen of GPUs will launch? Trying to plan ahead for post BCT celebration.
Well, we already talked about it somewhat.
Never.
Yeah, never.
Volta is never coming. They're
10 series
like,
forever.
We will launch Volta when Pascal sucks, and Pascal doesn't suck. So you don't get Volta.
No.
I don't know, Matt. I hope sooner rather than later, but I don't expect any time this year. I don't see Nvidia having the need to do that.
Yeah. No. Hardware Unboxed, hi in chat. They suggested that people use a thermal grizzly conductant, or conductinaut, which I've never used, but I trust them. Trust them wholeheartedly with my life.
Sounds like a...
Steve?
Is that something you can only get on Australia or something? Thermal grizzly?
It's
serious.
Like the one leg up that Australia has on the rest of the world.
we got a thermal grizzly.
Y'all gotta pay import tax on this shit. How's it feel? I'm like butchering, like doing the Bane Tom Hardy accent. It's awful. All right.
Automatic Matt again.
Automatic Matt.
$5 more.
Good
Shout
Lord.
out to Rychenek for the helpful info on the Army.
Woo!
We love helpful Army information.
Indeed. Jonathan Cruz, $5. By the way, from my question, I plan on getting 3 ROG 1440p 165Hz IPS monitors. That's why I'm thinking of waiting to get 2 2080 Ti's.
That makes a lot more sense. Thank you for explaining that, Jonathan.
Fill in the blanks. Very, very crucial.
It's changed our opinion of you.
Yep. Get 2 of those 2080 Ti's for sure.
I agree.
Taxor X95,
Taxor.
$10. What is a good computer case? Needs to have room for water cooling, tempered glass, preferably white. Where it gets tricky is I want one where I can flip the motherboard tray so window is on the right. Huh! I have the perfect idea. I think.
I feel like I should be able to say, oh, well, yeah, this brand has that exact configuration. Do you know?
Yes, I think so.
Corsair?
No. I was going to say the Dark Base 900 in white from Be Quiet.
Oh.
I think that case allows you to flip
They did a limited number of white versions.
It
right?
isn't even out yet.
It's not even out yet.
It's not even out yet. I can't say the release date. It's coming soon, but if you're willing to spend the amount, whatever they're charging for it...
It's a really good case.
It's a really great case, regardless of the color you get it in. If you want
large.
white, it's going to be offered in white.
Case.
It's super large, and I believe you can flip the motherboard and stuff.
I think you can.
Flip the whole orientation. I think that was one of the main features. So
I didn't do
look
that
into
in
that. And it's got a beautiful tempered glass side panel and stuff. So
yeah.
look into that. Honestly, that's the only one I know of, though. So sorry I can't help you more.
With all of those things.
Yeah, it's very specific. Good question, though. MB67, $20. Here's a little something from Temecula Wine Tastings with Mrs. Paul's Hardware.
Thank you, MB67.
Are you guys going wine tasting in Temecula?
We did.
Oh, you just did that
in the vlog that we posted.
Nice.
She nodded and said thank you as well. Thank you, MB67.
Oh yeah, Temecula's great. I love Temecula.
It's local.
It is, and they have great.
You have to embrace some varietals that aren't quite as well known though, because the varietals that thrive in Temecula aren't exactly your like garden variety Merlot varietals or that kind of.
Well, aren't you the distinguished wino? Look at you.
Yes, I am.
You know, there's also a Ballast Point in Temecula.
Really?
There's a Ballast Point brewery in Temecula. They have a place where you can get food. They have a kitchen and all that sort of thing.
We should go there next
awesome.
time.
It's the perfect thing to do right after you go wine tasting.
David Chow!
David Chow, $5. Don't you hate it when you realize that a woman you were talking to weeks ago was flirting, and you could have gotten her number? Damn it, Par! I fuck it up!
I'm sorry, David Chow.
David Chow, no!
I'm sorry.
Fucking calamity.
You have to
Jesus Christ, man. I don't know what to say.
It's all about the awareness. You have to be in the moment at the time and see what's going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes you don't see it till later, and that's always sad.
You gotta hand it to like super douchebags who are just somehow miraculously amazing with women. It's like that's like God put you on this earth just for that reason, because you suck at everything else. But good Lord, I could never talk to a woman like that. Again.
Keep your eyes open, TV, and maybe there'll be a second chance.
Yeah. Oh my Jesus. Okay, we'll get around to that donation. I did not see that right now. Thomas Lukens, $5. Z600s can be had for $300 with two X5570s or the 2 series, or even cheaper on eBay, up to 3+ gigahertz. Seems good for workflow on the cheap and gaming. Z600s.
So I would be fine with that as workflow options. He's talking about the Xeon stuff we were talking about earlier.
Okay.
With dual 5570s. So I'd be curious with that as far as workflow options for something that was heavily multi-threaded, like doing video editing or something like that, or other workstation tasks. I'd be curious as far as the gaming performance, because gaming typically loves clock speed, and Xeons are not typically known for that, and also usually can't be overclocked or at all, from my knowledge. So I'd be curious about the gaming performance, but that would be an interesting thing to look into.
Yeah. Indeed.
But, thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, Thomas. Tomas.
Taylor
Kuzela. $20. I so haven't been drinking. Been meaning to donate since Paul said Tycho was his favorite band. Me too. Everyone go raid Awake by Tycho. Thank you both for the show. Stay awesome.
Yep.
I love Tycho so much.
Love Tycho.
They're the best. Yeah, thank you very much, Taylor.
I was listening to Tycho right before Kyle got here.
Yep. They're great for building music.
Whenever I'm sitting there and I'm like doing something and I'm like, I'm inefficient and I suck, and then I put on Tycho and then I'm like, I'm just doing things now.
Yep.
And then things happen. It's awesome.
Great for chilling, great for working out, great for LSD. All right, Jeremy McCullough, $20. I've read that an OC'd 1800X puts out 110+ watts of heat. Do you think a case like an S340 or P400 would be a good pairing, or would they struggle with thermals? Both of those cases, as long as they're properly equipped with case fans and stuff like that.
He says, assuming
an AIO.
If you have an AIO, you're fine.
Yeah, you're totally good, man. An S340 is I feel like both of those cases are practically built for AIO units.
And remember that there's like a lot of air coolers of 3, 4, 5 years ago were rated for 140 to 180 watts.
Yeah,
so 110 watts isn't that insane.
Yep.
As far as heat dissipation goes.
We're getting more power
with liquid, you're totally good. And as far as case goes, there's lots of cases with lots of different configurations. Add more fans. If you're concerned about airflow, add more fans.
Yep, absolutely. Unless we've got one from Dr. B, 1900. $10. Paul, it's driving me crazy. I know what a weeping angel is, but what is that other character on that T-shirt you wear?
Oh, I was wearing it for yesterday's video.
The Boo?
Yeah, it's Boo. It's
Mario.
It's a ghost from Super Mario Brothers.
Yep. And and it's the same sort of thing, because anytime you look at Boo, he freezes, but as soon as you look away, he comes towards you.
Yeah.
It's the same sort of thing with the Weeping Angel, correct?
Yes.
More or less. I'm not familiar with Doctor Who, but
since they're looking at each other, both of them
both frozen.
Are covered, so they're both frozen, I guess, theoretically.
There's
ways you could talk about that, and like the game theory might be different. But
what's their motive?
It's a Weeping Angel and a Boo. It's one of those crossover shirts, yeah.
Beautiful. All right, Enrique de la Garza for the $5. I already own a GTX 1070. Should I invest in a 1080 Ti for a new ultra-wide setup, or buy a second 1070 to do SLI? 1080 Ti.
Yep, I go
all the way.
I go for the single 1080 Ti.
Less heat, less power, just as much performance, if not more so, than depending on the game and stuff. But usually, a single faster GPU is going to dominate the GTX or dominate a multi-GPU setup, especially because every game is optimized to run one GPU. Not all games are optimized for multi-GPU configurations.
Yes.
So bear that in mind. Less heat, less power, more support. Go for the 1080 Ti.
Matthew Lemping.
$11.99. Next six-pack on me. You got it, Matthew.
That's a premium six-pack for $11.99.
Hell yeah, we can get some sculpting. Gerard.
I like that.
Gerald for the $10.60. Should I sell my GTX 1060 6GB to a miner and purchase miner like cryptocurrency miner, not like under 18, and purchase a Vega 56 to go with my FreeSync monitor? Also, I tweeted you my PC part picker link to my rig. You both are very, very busy, but criticism is appreciated. Cheers. All right, so the GTX 1060, depending on how much you can sell it to that miner to purchase Vega 56, would be an upgrade.
If you can swing it, I would try to get... If you can buy the Vega 56 first...
Yeah.
Like, get yourself your Vega 56 and then sell your 1066 gig.
Yeah.
Don't sell your 1066 gig first.
Because you might not be able to get Vega 56.
Yeah, because Vega 56 might be a pipe dream at $400.
Indeed.
It's still yet to be determined fully.
Yep.
But yeah, if you can do that, then I would say yes for a FreeSync monitor. Vega 56 is going to be a nice upgrade.
Definitely.
And you will actually be able to use it versus with your 1060.
Yep. Maxwell $10. Do you think the workstation benchmarks by TechGauge.com would justify Vega 56 or 64 for pro users, not gamers? I am not familiar with TechGauge.com and their benchmarks for this particular...
I didn't look very specifically at those, but some of the benchmarks on Vega 64 and 56 have been focused on workstation stuff, and actually it's pretty good at that. In fact...
same sort of DNA as the Pro Vega.
Yeah, seems to outperform
NVIDIA equivalent
with workstation stuff. So
True.
Might be something that's viable for you. Maxwell, again, I don't want to say yes, do this, or no, don't do that, because I really haven't fully looked at that article. It was a quick glance earlier today. Maybe give it another week or so, and there's lots of tests that have already happened. There's lots more tests going on right now. People are going to still be posting stuff. Give it a little time to see how things play out. See if you can see specific benchmarks run on your workstation applications, and that'll give you a better idea of what to expect.
Indeed. Next up,
Cal's wife.
Heather. For the $10. Wow. Okay. Paul, enjoy my donation for hosting awesome Game of Thrones parties.
Heather.
Also, please ask Kyle when he will be home for dinner. I'm hungry. These donations are fun. From the super awesome wifey sauce.
Kyle will be home when the donations finish, and they keep rolling in.
Yeah.
So never.
I'll be home when you stop trolling me on stream, woman. And you're damn right, dinner better be ready when I walk in those doors. No, I love you, honey. We're almost done. We're almost done. I turned into a redneck asshole when I talked to my wife.
Apparently.
Bite My Bits, $5. If you had to choose between tacos or pizza for the rest of your life as the only food you could eat, which one? Oh.
Tacos or pizza?
I think tacos. Tacos. Pizza is delicious. Don't get me wrong.
Probably.
But I think tacos has a bit more nutrition in it. Maybe just a little bit. Like you got some lettuce, tomato.
Yeah, I would go tacos too. Tacos, they're more flexible food. I feel
they are.
But Bite My Bits, I've watched several of your Plex videos recently, actually.
Oh, Plex videos, cool. Nice. Miguel Rubio, $10. Going to QuakeCon? No.
Sorry,
I don't think I've ever been to a QuakeCon.
I'm sorry.
It's just too many things happening.
Not that I don't want to. I'm just so tired right now.
Busy. I know. I need sleep.
Just looking for a week where I have minimal things planned.
Paul and I will be attending SleepCon this year.
Exactly.
Every day. Logan C, $10. Paul, how about more lawn vids?
No, Logan, come on. That was a one-time thing.
Come on, Paul.
I'll do videos where I'm building stuff, and I'm planning to build more stuff once things stop launching.
But then you could have like Nori prancing around your grass, and you could just be like, "Get off my lawn! Get off my lawn!" Just say that in every vlog.
There will be more like Paul's hardware vlogs and or garage work logs. I probably won't focus much more on lawn mowing though. That was a one-time. That was a one-off. I feel like I can only get away with one of those.
Gerald,
$5.
Who would win in a fight between a grilled cheese and a taco? Again with the tacos. Hot rod fans? Anyone? Bueller? Grilled cheese and a taco. I think the taco would win. Taco just seems mean and especially if it's a hard shell.
Okay.
Probably has a rough exterior.
I'll agree.
Grilled cheese just seems a little like spineless.
I'm confused about the hot rod question.
Hot rod fans. No, I'm not.
But thank you, Gerald.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Stormzoo,
£5
pounds.
I've currently got a GTX 970 overclocked to 1.8 gigahertz. How long should I wait before considering an upgrade to a 1070, 1080, or Vega?
I like the 970.
Me too.
If you're gaming at 1080 and even if you're at 1440,
yeah.
Wait for next generation. Wait for 2000 series or whatever comes next.
At this point, it's only a year away.
Japix with €5.
Best processor to pair with the GTX 1080 Ti for 4K gaming only. I would probably not settle for less, more or less
7700K.
7700K, or any like a high-end desktop platform. chip, but obviously that's not going to be quite as good for gaming for the most part.
Realistically, you want a 7700K that's overclocked to 5 gigahertz or so,
Highest IPC.
or a 7740K that's also overclocked, but that's really impractical as far as how much money you have to spend on that.
Exactly.
So yeah, 7700K.
Yep. Last donation here of the night, Sebastian Casella for the 80 Argentinian something. I found a Corsair H60 $100. But people tell me in some forums that isn't worth the money and should stay with Air for my 7700K. Nice show as always.
I don't think it is either. H60 should cost much less than $100.
$60 at most. Yeah. Get a 240 millimeter AIO for your 7700K so you can overclock it to 5 gigahertz, like Paul said. Really get the most out of it. That's one of those few chips that gets hot enough to really warrant spending the extra premium on a 240 millimeter AIO. You'll be happy that you did it. You'll be able to overclock it as much as you want and squeeze the most performance out of that chip. If you are going to go air cooling, get a nice beefy air cooler that performs well. Maybe a Noctua or a Be Quiet cooler. Something substantial that's going to be able to handle the TDP on that guy and the heat output that it exhibits. But for the most part, H60 for 100 is not a good deal.
Okay, 2 quick shoutouts, CHRoad0302 and Justin63. Thank you guys both for your donations. Yep. We did already do last call, so we don't have time to actually answer your questions, but we did want to say thank you really quick.
Indeed.
As well as a big thank you to you guys who tuned in for the show. You guys are awesome. Thanks for watching. Thumbs up button, of course, as always, if you enjoyed it. And yeah, we have lots of videos coming out this week, right? That are exciting and good.
Indeed, we do.
Okay, good, exciting videos more this week.
Indeedy.
Stay tuned, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching, and you're all wonderful people.
We got some Johnsons.
Oh, we got Johnsons. Can't forget Johnsons. Hold on, I don't have Johnsons. You have a Johnson.
I have one Johnson.
Kyle's got one Johnson.
Uno Johnson from Randy. Picking up an Evolution shirt. Thank you very much, Randy Johnson, to you, sir. That's
Randy Johnson, the big unit.
That's about it. And we do have one raid shout out for a Twitch partner that is currently streaming. It is a female.
If you guys are watching live,
all of you will be interested. Mufasa is back. New sub perks. Her name is Mrs. Murder A. Murderer. Murder A or Murderer. MSMURD3RA. We will be hosting her on our channel anyway, so you'll be seeing it on our channel anyway. So you have to type it in yourself.
Go raid her. Tell her we sent you.
Raid the shit out of her.
Tell her she's awesome.
Raid her.
Thanks, Sel. Thanks for watching, everyone. You guys are great, and have a good week.
Yep.